Hey guys, how's it going? Danny Fitzy here, and today I'm just going to be giving you a quick overview of my current setup of my League Starter build, which is a Deadeye, a Venom Gyre, or Venom Gyre, however you say it. I'm going to call it Venom. I'll probably call it like 3 different things throughout the video, but you know what I mean. You know what I'm talking about. This skill here. So yeah, I'm just going to be giving you a quick overview of the League start that I've been playing with, and kind of just show you where I've got to, kind of the idea that I was aiming for, and how the changes I'm going to make for the end game. Just to give you kind of some context to how far I've got, I've just started like getting into like the lower tier yellow maps, and the damage is still pretty fine. I can do all the rituals, I can kill the bosses in a few seconds if I set up properly. Like I've not fallen off the cliff yet, so I think the build is still doing good. So I just want to give you more of an overview as like from a League start perspective. God, I can't speak today. It's perspective rather than like my normal videos are normally like a finished build, and I tell you like here's like end game upgrades you can make and changes you can do to make the playstyle a bit different. This is just gonna be more like if you want to play this skill, or you want to play a Deadeye, or you're just you're just curious about some other builds. This will just give you a good example of the type of build we're playing here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run a crappy map, like an easy map to run, because I don't want the video to be really long. We're just going to do a T4 iceberg. But Al can go. Dodge is unlucky, so we might die. XD. Yeah, we're just going to run for it, just so you can see a little bit of the gameplay. And then obviously I'll get into the mechanics and the things that are going on here. So as you can see, the play style is very much you just spam projectiles everywhere, and we're utilizing Pierce at the moment for our projectiles, so we get that insane AoE. And the thing I like about this skill, it's probably the reason why I played it, to be honest. It's just the fact that you catch the blades and then you shit them out when you whirl in blades. It's so cool. As you can see, like they're floating around us. When you dash, they all fly out, or a percentage of them. You can catch up to 30 projectiles. I think 15 always fly out or something. As you can see here, we're just cruising through. It's only a T4. It's an Alpha T4, but this is not too shabby. It looks pretty much the same up to every tier of map I've done so far, which I think the highest I've done is maybe a tier. I think I've done 1 tier 6 or a tier 5. Oh, blueprint, nice. We've got totems as well for insane attack speed. We also get the new tailwind buff on Deadeye, which is pretty insane. So our attack speed, we'll get our golem up as well here. Probably not the best golem. I think the crit accuracy of the ice golem would be better for us. But what we'll do, we'll just finish these rituals, and then we'll call that a successful build showcase of the gameplay. So basically, just put your totems down, and you just send a million projectiles into the enemies. And every now and then, when a mob's a little bit tanky, you mark them with sniper's mark, and then you basically do almost, I wouldn't say double damage, but you do about 40 to 50% more damage to them, and it also splits your projectiles into more projectiles. You can see how crazy the projectiles on this build can get. Get a little bit insane. I can't tell if it's the new patch on PoE and some of the stuff they've changed, or if it's this build in particular, but in very sticky situations where there's a lot of boys, you're going to notice a lot of frame drop. And look, our mark's still there. And I'm going to talk about this new rune here, as to why that's happening as well. But there you go, that's the showcase. Oh, we did all the rituals, lovely. We're just going to have a look here. A bit of multi cold damage, not bad. Stacked dick, wow. Orc champ, dude. A whole lot of currency. Basically how I've been doing this is I've just been taking the currency if there's nothing good there, and then re-rolling if I've got enough to be able to defer a pog item if it comes up. So, yeah. There you go. Right. The build. The idea. The idea started out as wow, the new Deadeye looks sick, right? And I was like, they buffed Venom Gyre. So, if you don't know, the changes they made to this skill is they boosted the base damage which is that first top line there in the blue, deals 162% of base damage. I think that goes up per level. I think it goes up to 165%. They removed the added chaos that it got per level, and they increased the fizz that's converted to chaos to 60 over 50. And I think they changed some of the way you catch the projectiles. I think it's easier to catch all the projectiles now. So essentially what they've made this skill be able to do is play it non-poison. So you can play on-hit Venom Gyre because you actually deal... It's around the same as every other projectile melee skill in the game. In terms of like the base damage now that it puts out, because before it was like 115, which is terrible. So the only way to play it before was poison, but in this build we're not utilizing the poison at all. We're just doing on hit. There's a few problems with this skill that you have to overcome. The main one is that the fizz is converted to chaos, so you're losing 60% of your fizz to chaos straight off the bat. So doing a fizz to LE build is out of the question because you can't scale both to chaos. You only get 40% of that is going to be converted to an element. Chaos is not considered an element, so you can't just do LE damage and scale your chaos. Chaos is a separate type of damage that you need chaos damage for. So that kind of cucks us. So you have to go like a pure LE base. So this base damage here. So we've done this with a white wind for now. Because it's a very cheap, easy to get hold of dagger. I bought this one, but I've had 2 drop after I bought this one. They didn't roll as well as this one. To get a well-rolled one of these is probably a pain in the ass, but it's something you could easily solo self-found. Solo self-found? That don't make no sense. You know what I mean. You can get this without actually buying anything. You can play this on SSF. And the reason why we're using this is because it has insane, in terms of like just a straight-up quick... item to get. It has insane amounts of base damage that's LE damage. It has a bit of fizz on it because every weapon has fizz, but it doesn't really matter about the fizz at this point because we're just scaling that chunk of added cold that it already has, and obviously it gives us a massive increased damage, decent attack speed. The only thing this thing lacks really is crit. 6.3 is alright, but as you can see my crit, this is a crit build as well. You see my crit's 29%. When you're in a map it goes up a little bit, but I don't have power charges yet. Obviously I don't have like a 0.5 base crit on my chest yet, so there's a lot of things there to boost that crit way up. But in terms of like a starter item and even maybe end game, you could still use this. It just means that we're doing 162% of this number, so this fizz and LE number at the top there. We're basically taking that. It's going to be way higher than that. Like you can see that top end, 311 cold on the top end, 162%. What's that? It's probably like 550, 540. I'm bad at maths, but you can correct me if I'm wrong. Around there, you can see how like the damage is that's your base damage that you're scaling. So this makes it extremely annoying to level with. I leveled with it from about Act 2 or 3. I could have got on it earlier, but I just couldn't get some sockets to drop in the correct colours and linked. I was using Caustic Arrow for the longest time, and I was getting I got Quill Rain and a Tabula and all that. I probably should have just leveled as a like a Caustic Arrow, a Toxic Rain. It would have been way smoother. But by about Act 5, Act 6, once I got my first Ascendancy Point fast shot, which gives you like 60% more damage as long as they're like pretty much on the edge of your screen. At least that's how I'm perceiving the fast shot anyway. You're definitely getting your max damage at the edge of your screen. Then you pretty much owned. You could probably take Tailwind first as well because the attack speed, I needed the attack speed to be fair when I was leveling. That was quite slow attack speed. So all this in combination, it made, after about Act 6, Act 5, it was a pretty good leveling skill. The single target was alright once you get Sniper's Mark and maybe get Totem down. You definitely do a reasonable amount of damage. It's nothing special, but I would definitely recommend maybe leveling with like just a bow setup and then maybe swapping out some bow nodes later on. But obviously for League start, just respecking is kind of not that very good because regrets are usually actually worth something at the start of a league, so it's entirely up to you. I went full strength. That's how I play when I level up. If I'm going like this build, I'm playing that as soon as I can. I'm not leveling as something else and then swapping. I only do that when I'm like like power leveling or whatever you want to call it, twink gear. And that even then, most of the time I end up playing what I'm going to play while I'm leveling. It gives you a good gauge of the mechanics and things that maybe you didn't factor in, that you can't really POB, and that's just like gameplay and how it feels and stuff. So at the moment, I'll go over each piece of gear in a sec, but at the moment I would say it's very strong clear, and the single target is decent. There's definitely a potential for this to go higher. I don't think it's just going to fall off a cliff, but we'll see once we get to red maps. That's when the real test will happen. But at the moment, I'm kind of still debating on how to play the kind of clear game, because there's a lot of things you can do with projectiles. You can pierce, you can fork, you can chain, you can combo maybe few of these, maybe chain and fork. Maybe just wait and just get like, for example, right now, I'm using pierce. So that means when I throw out one of these blades, it'll go through 4 enemies before it would consider the damage to be stopped, you know, and then it'll return to you, right? So this is pretty good, but that means you have to aim with pierce because it's just a straight line skill shot then. Sometimes that's kind of annoying, sometimes that's fine. In Ritual, you usually stood, you know, you're just lined up, just firing out, so it's not too bad for Ritual, but like for general map clear, sometimes you'll notice you'll just throw shit out everywhere, and there will be a few mobs that just get lucky, right? So pierce kind of sucks for that, but the gem gives you more damage, whereas chain and fork are both less multipliers to gems. And since we don't have an amazing base damage, having less multipliers, especially with great multiple projectiles, that's a less multiplier as well. If we stack less multipliers, it kind of just gimps our damage. And also this +1 is not enough on its own, and even with the chain, if you're in a pretty good map that has a lot of walls, I went this for my third, but it just didn't feel that good, so I swapped to focal point. I think that's how you say that. Just so like our sniper's mark does even more. The problem with this node as well is you get the less damage, right? So you mark an enemy and then around them they do less damage, which is nice as well. But the marks you inflict are not removed from dying enemies. This is considered a corpse. So if you have corpse removal, or if you have corpse removal, and that involves either blowing the mob up or shattering them, we are scaling cold damage. We are scaling crit. I just got a follower randomly in the middle of a fucking video. That scared the crap out of me. Thanks for the follow, my guy. I'm not even streaming. This is just a random video. So yeah, marks you inflict are not removed from dying enemies. Unfortunately, it only works on corpses that are left on the ground, so we don't actually really get the benefit of this. And the only benefit I see from this line anyway is the fact that if a mob dies, the mark still does the less damage around it, or makes the mobs do less damage. But most of the time, once the target dies, you're putting your sniper's mark on another target anyway, and it doesn't give you plus marks. Like if you could mark 2 things at the same time, I think this would be a way stronger node. But for pure single target, because sniper's mark is a mob's take increased, you can just about see it. Cursed enemies take 34% increased damage from projectile hits. Obviously 75% increase, that's almost double. So you're looking at like, I don't know, what's 34? You're looking at like 65-70% increased damage taken for projectile hits. And because that's the cursed enemies take, I don't have any other source of increased take, right? So this is a pure multiplier. So the single target potential of this is insane. Whereas like getting +2 doesn't really help. I don't think you could shotgun this skill, so getting +2 doesn't really help. It's better. It's okay for clear. Chain, like I said, that's more for you can do the chain memes, I suppose. But these are more for damage each time they've chained. So I think the old one would have been better for this, the old ricochet. But so at the moment, I've gone far shot. Obviously, this is a given on any projectile build in Deadeye. 60% more damage from far away. I've also comboed that with point blank because this does have a less multiplier if you're too close. So if you go point blank as well, it means you're never doing less damage, you're always doing slightly more. I don't know if these counteract perfectly. I don't think like, so obviously this is 30% when the first at the start of the travel. So and this is obviously 20% less. So I don't know if it's just 10% more damage if I'm next to him, 6% more damage if I'm far away. I don't know if it works exactly like that. But even if it doesn't, even if they just multiply, they kind of multiply with each other or divide each other, you're still not going to be doing 20% less, right? You're going to at least be doing positive damage, unless I'm completely misreading these nodes. So that's the only reason I've got point blank as well. You might be like, why you got far shot and point blank? They kind of counteract each other. No, it just means I'm never doing less damage if I'm, forced to take a fight with a mob in front of me, which happens quite a lot in Ritual because shit just spawns on top of you. So you don't want to be doing less damage. So yeah, so the tree, like I said, I'm still messing around with fork, pierce, and chain. I'm gonna start like changing things around now. Now I've got a bit of currency to swap my nodes out. I might even try one chain, one fork. Would be pretty good. But worst case, I think pierce is probably just the easiest play. And also, you can get the boots. I think they're called Void Walkers or something, or Murder Boots. I can't remember the name of them. They're the shape. I'm dying. They're the shaper ones that give you They give you 5 pierce if you've killed recently. Plus, they give you phasing if you've killed recently, and while you're phasing, your projectiles pierce 5 additional targets. That would solve all your pierce, and it would save you your whole gem link. So they could be a play. The only problem is they don't have life on those boots. And the base type's alright. They got 30 move speed though, so they're not too shabby. So that is definitely a play. But we'll see. I haven't bought them yet. I'm going to wait for them to go down a little bit. But yeah, so we'll actually talk about the gear now. Like I said, the White Wind is the most valuable thing here, I'd say. You need to get this as early as possible. It's like I said, leveling with this build, you just have to look out for stuff with a lot of early damage on it. So any fire, lightning, or cold base, like early rolls like this. The more the merrier. It doesn't really matter when you're leveling up. You don't need one or the other. I'd also level up with a wrath instead of a hatred as well, because because you're not pure cold. So the more cold doesn't really give you 18% more cold. The wrath gives you flat damage, and flat damage is very important while you're leveling. At this point now, I have enough. Like they're starting to get diminishing returns of adding just pure flat cold damage everywhere. So hatred becomes way better in that instance. So yeah, get this. End game probably maybe dual wielding again with some juicy daggers. You could probably play this build with claws as well. The claw nodes are better than the dagger nodes as well. Something to note. I would say the claw wheel is way stronger than the dagger wheel. So maybe going claws could be the play. But at the moment, this could carry you all the way to endgame, I reckon. It's just the other gear around it might have to be a bit stronger. Then we just got some life resist. Very nice helmet. Solo self found this. Pretty nice helmet for this point in the league. Then we got the chest piece. It's just a crappy. This is the first 6 link I've found, other than a tabula. So literally just using it. So I'm not using a tabula. Then we've got the amulet, which is actually pretty good. Solo self found this as well from Ritual. The talismans seem to have like some sort of smart loot. They roll really well. This is an attack damage talisman, so that scales with us. It's got multi, life, and all res. 3 of the most valuable stats on our amulet. Maybe endgame we go for the cold pen breach amulet. I can't remember the name of it. It's called like the Pandemonius or something. Gives you like 20 up to 24% pen. Pretty strong. But we'll see. I think penetration will be an endgame type of thing that we'll have to start stacking. And this also had Night Stalker anointed on it. If you don't know, talismans come with a random anoint on them. And this is actually a really good anoint for us because we're using daggers. It gives us 20% increased damage with hits and ailments, 20 multi, and 150 accuracy. The elusive effects are completely lost on us because we don't have elusive. I did take elusive for a little bit here on kill. It just makes you quicker. I wouldn't recommend it, but if you want to be a speedy boy, definitely take this. And if you've got Night Stalker, it's a gold oil, so I don't know if I'd recommend anointing this on an actual amulet. But if you find a a talisman that's decent with this on, fuck yeah, dude, go for it. Then we're using a Shaper Ring with some accuracy, life, resists, and then I just got the. We actually need crit chance at the moment more than multi, so I got the crit chance roll on that. It comes with multi if you shattered, so it's pretty nice. Jun Unveil mod you can get there. Paired with the Mark of the Elder, this is the most expensive item I'm wearing, I think. This is about 70C at the time of recording this. It'll go down. This thing is worth like nothing in the later, probably after like a week or two. And it just gives us insane amount of attack damage for using a Shaper Ring, plus some added cold and a bit of increased life. And I don't really know what the Tentacle Whip thing on kill is. I'm not gonna lie, I've never seen it. Or maybe I have and I just don't notice it anymore. Gloves, you probably want attack speed here as well with a decent accuracy roll. I do have 100% accuracy now, but for the longest time I didn't, and you definitely will feel that you need accuracy, especially if you're going crit, because the two kind of go hand in hand. And if you have low accuracy and you're a crit build, you're really crippling your damage, so it's definitely best to get at least normal chance to hit to 100%. But these are just some crappy gloves I'm wearing. They got some added cold on them, some dex, some life, roll to resist on them. They were 4 linked, is what it is at this point of the league. Take what you get, Same with the belt. Belt is crap. Obviously, a Stygian Visor is going to be the play here with some like phasing or onslaught on kill. So we can either swap out a flask or get some phasing into the build. And then boots, decent chunk of life on these boots. Kind of crappy move speed, but they're filling out what they need to do right now, and they've got a crappy anoint on them. Or not an anoint, a enchant. Obviously, you want to be looking for like increased attack speed if you've killed recently. The added cold one, the penetration one. If you haven't killed in 4 seconds, will be good for botting. And the move speed one's always nice if you want to be a speedy boy. And then our links, our main link, we have got Venom Gyre into Ice Bite support. Once again, added cold, but this also gives us Frenzy generation. Frenzies is more damage and attack speed. So it gives us a bit of everything. In POB, last time I checked, straight up just having a level 20 added cold was more total DPS than this. Even with an extra frenzy, so with 4 frenzies, it was still out DPS than this. So it might be worth just throwing in an added cold and maybe using Blood Rage to get your frenzies. That would be maximum DPS output, but I hate using frenzy. Hate using Blood Charge. I can't speak today. Hate using Blood Rage because of the degen. It's just, I hate it, and I don't have a slot for it at the moment, so I ain't doing that. It also gives you attack speed, which is quite nice. So Blood Rage is kind of the play, but I ain't doing it. I'd rather just do a little bit less damage. And then we got LE damage. Obviously, we're doing full LE damage build. Inspiration. Also make sure shit costs like nothing as well, so you can spam it, especially with high attack speed. This is really nice. It gives you crit and LE damage. 2 things we really want. Then we're using greater multiple projectiles. I think in end game there could be a play where you take the +2 on the Deadeye and you get a Dying Sun, so you have +4 from other sources, and that way you can take this gem out and then you save yourself a full link. And also this is a less multiplier, so you're going to get way more damage by throwing someone else in there, maybe an added cold, for example. So yeah, that might be the play, but Dying Sun won't go down in price for at least a week or 2, so I am not going to be trying to get that yet. And then we're obviously using Pierce because that's our kind of projectile clear of choice right now. Like I said, I'm going to mess around. I've tried Chain. I've tried this plus Chain, and I've tried Fork on its own, and I've tried Pierce, and Pierce seems to be the best. But obviously, I've not tried maybe combining a few of them. I don't know if that's a shit idea. I've actually never done it, I don't think. So maybe having +1 Chain and then a Fork could be really good. The thing is, you usually don't want to say like have 4 Pierce and a Chain, because by the time something's hit 4 targets, if you don't know, there's an order for projectiles. So they will Pierce, then Chain, then Fork, I believe. You might have to go check that up. They change it sometimes, the order in which will go first. But there is an order. There's a set order. That's my understanding at the moment. So if I'm wrong, then maybe my ideas are cooked here. So from what I know, if something's going to pierce 4 times before it's going to chain once, there's no point in having the chain, is there, at that point? But however, if it chains once, so you hit something, it chains once, and then it forks, that seems like it could be very, very good clear, very good AoE. So who knows? I'll play with that. Obviously, I'll make a follow-up build when everything's a bit more in line, and I've kind of got like my final set of stuff together, and I'm obviously going through red maps. Who knows? The build might never make it there. But yeah. So that's that. Then we're using Herald of Ice. I'll go through my auras. Herald of Ice, Hatred, and Precision. Level up Precision as much as you can. It's obviously accuracy and crit, very nice. Obviously Hatred and Herald of Ice go to the max. Ice just gives you the shatter effect and gives you a chance to use cool MTX. Does okay cleave damage, I suppose. Hatred obviously just a more multiplier. The Fizz's extra's kind of lost on us because we're not really scaling too much Fizz, unfortunately, because of the conversion on Venom Gyre, but is what it is. Then we've got an Ancestral Projectile with multiple totems and Culling Strike. We put these down, we get like 30 move speed. I'm pressing the wrong button. 3 of these down, we get insane attack speed. Plus our Tailwind effect, which I haven't spoken about too much. The new Tailwind Deadeye thing is insane. You can just keep it up at like 150% effect pretty easily. And so you essentially have 20% increased action speed at max, which feels really good. I'd probably take that when you're leveling, maybe over the far shot, but that's entirely up to you. Then what else we got? Yeah, I probably want to maybe 4-link this with the damage support, maybe just for a little bit extra single target, but for now, we're just using it for mad attack speed. It also soaks some damage and a free cull, I suppose, on that. The cull's probably better on the minion, the stone golem. Then we got cast on damage taken, wave of conviction, and more cool. These are all like level 1. I just want them to proc every time we're hit because we're a dodge evasion based build. You know, we don't actually get hit that often, so when we do, you want your shit just to go off and save your ass. So Immortal Core just means if we get hit again in quick succession, we're going to take a lot less damage, so hopefully we don't die. And Wave of Conviction just basically sends out a wave skill shot thing that will reduce the LE damage of whatever just hit us. So usually procs on bosses more than anything else. Then we got Dash is our movement skill, as well as Whirling Blades. Dash is for jumping terrain because Whirling Blades doesn't. And Whirling Blades is connected to faster attacks because it obviously scales off that, so it's faster. And Fortify, so when we dash through stuff we actually get Fortify, which is 20% less damage taken from hits, so it's just another defense layer. Then we got Stone Golem, although I'd probably swap this out for a Ice Golem because the accuracy and crit will be way more valuable than this 9% increased attack speed at this point, since we got so much attack speed with Tailwind. So I'm definitely going to be swapping that out soon. And then Sniper's Mark can just be there on its own. This is a huge increase in damage against single target, and it also splits the projectiles when you're hitting them, and it also gives you like mana and life flasks back. So it's kind of just a nice skill all around, and it synergizes with this build perfectly. Obviously, if you take this as well, you're going to be doing insane single target. So I think this is probably the best single target setup you can have with this node, and having this. Maybe getting a way to apply this not manually, automatically. Will be really nice, because obviously pressing this in the middle of attacking, it does break animations, so you can't just mark something while you're still attacking. It has a cast time, unfortunately. Feels bad. But yeah, very strong. And also the splitting of the projectors is kind of cool. You just projectiles everywhere, dude. You know, can't see anything. And I think that's it. What else we got? Hatred. Yeah, no, that's it. Obviously, generic flask, diamond flask because we're a crit. Obviously, move speed flask, silver flask because we don't have any other source of onslaught yet. We'll swap that out when we get like an abyss jewel with onslaught and kill. And then we're using an evasion flask with more evasion on it, jade flask, because when we have 7.5k evasion right now, but if we press this flask, we get up to 21k. Plus, I think we get evasion per frenzy, so we get like another % there. So we're quite evasive. Obviously, we'll go through the tree now. We're obviously taking phase, acro, and all that. So we're doing full dodge memes. We're converting this last bit of fizz on this gem for 2 points, just so we do. There is a bit of chunk of fizz on most weapons, so why not, I suppose. It also gives you increased cold damage with attack skills anyway, so it's not completely worthless. You know, it's a pretty standard tree. We're taking all the crit and crit multi. We're taking 1 frenzy. Obviously, we're early damage, so we're taking anything that's early damage and anything that's life. Point blank, like I said, to counteract the far shot, less damage. And then right next to that's a nice cold cluster. This bit over here is questionable, Golem's blood and all that. I might drop this whole section for a cluster duel setup later on. But I was trying to work my way up to this, because that's quite a lot of extra life for a 4K. It's alright for what it is now. Obviously taking more life evasion, damage pen and attack damage there. We're obviously taking the full dagger wheel because we are a dagger build, which has a lot of crit and attack speed on it. It's quite nice. Obviously going all the way up for assassination, OP node there. Obviously more life up here to take. These give projectile speed, which is quite nice, so I went up the top there rather than along the bottom for more defense. Projectile speed just means in this case, I think Venom Gyre, Jesus Christ, just goes further. I think that's all speed does. Obviously it goes quicker, but it will go further before returning. So actually getting a little bit of speed, projectile speed's really good, because it means it's easier to proc your fast shot. If your projectiles are too slow, you're not actually they're not even gonna go far enough to proc that full 60% more damn from fast shot. So just to note. Then we took I've never taken these nodes before, but they give a shit ton of attack damage leached as well, which is quite nice. You have to be careful with some of the leech nodes on the tree. We need attack damage because there's no early damage leech on the tree anywhere, and like down here is attack damage as well. We're actually near all the attack damage, but there's a lot of like fizz leech and melee leech or some shit. Like you have to make sure you're getting the leech that it says attack damage. That just means any skill that has the attack tag will give you leech. So, but this one seems very strong. Obviously, if we went claws, we'd have the insane fucking soul raker should I say, node, which is just disgusting. That node is disgusting, and the crit node for it is claw node is disgusting. So maybe we go claws later on, and then we're taking this here for some accuracy and crit. That was the last change I made. We really needed some accuracy and crit. We still do. I mean, we don't need accuracy, but we still need crit. And like I said, I've anointed Night Stalk now, but what else would I anoint? I don't know. There's quite a few nodes here that you could anoint. If you want to go for full damage, you probably could anoint. What could we anoint? I've actually not thought about it because I've just got this. Anything that's multi, maybe just Throat Seeker. 30 multi's nothing too shabby. You could maybe anoint forces of nature rather than taking it. Maybe far shot and long shot would be pretty good. This is pretty good as well, ambidextrous, because we get the 50% increased attack damage permanently, because it's not flicking between the two. So we lose the attack speed. And we also get the increased. Oh, we're not dual wielding, so we only get the 50% increased attack damage, but that's quite a lot for one node. So anointing that, that's fucking cheap as well, actually. So that's definitely worth. But yeah, I think that's everything. But yeah, there's a lot of changes to be had. Like I said, this is more of like a first up. This is kind of where we are. I want to show off this MTX. I think I'm looking real good right now. Kind of built into the whole green Venom Gyre because there's no MTX for it. So this is what we're rocking right now. What do you reckon? I reckon that's probably one of the sickest little set pieces I'm looking at right now. Go away, Golem. I look good, bro. But there's the MTX I'm using right now. If you wanted to know, this is the new Ethercraft boy. I bought the packs. You get all the colors. Kind of sick, not gonna lie. I wish they did this. I wish you could just change the color of some MTX anyway, like chromas or some shit. But yeah, we look good, and it goes with our aesthetics. So the blades hover around you when you dash. And then we're using the black dash the Whirling Blades. This one's probably one of the best MTXs in the game. Not gonna lie, this Whirling Blades is so sick. Sounds so cool as well, but that's enough fashion craft, or fashion path of fashion. I tried to make this video 20 minutes, it's 35 freaking minutes, so I have failed my mission, but I hope this helped, and I hope this maybe sparked some badass ideas in your brain for some more OP Deadeye projectile builds, or Venom Gyre. You could even go poison on this, I reckon. It'd be pretty sick. Probably be better, definitely for single target. But yeah, if you're still here, you're a legend. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to come and follow me on Twitch and watch me play this build live and progress my Atlas, and shout memes at me while I'm memeing. All good. Also my Twitter and all that's in the description. There's gonna be no POB for this right now because it's a broken build. It's half put together. Once the build is more established, I'll make a POB, and I'll probably make another video in the more traditional overview video. Although I basically just did that now, but whatever. Is what it is. So yeah, thanks very much for watching. Peace out. See you in the next one, or see you on my live stream. Bye.